Graybeard gamers, what game took all your money in the arcade? For me, it was Gauntlet, Simpsons arcade game, Smash TV, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Gauntlet, X-Men, Street Fighter 2. I was looking for T2 Judgment Day, first light gun game I ever played. Screw the pickup truck level, never got past it. I think that level was designed for people to pay up or get off. Either way, awesome game. It's so infuriating that we went away from this monetization model only to have it essentially circle back with DLC and passes that give shortcuts to grindy levels. My godparents had a T2 Judgment Day arcade machine, which meant I got to play it for free and beat the game several times. Fuck man, good times. The memories, they were so rich, and it was such a crazy culture shock every time I visited. Their basement was heaven for a kid since they had several of their own, and they had such a sweet pool with a slide that went through a rock wall. And, oh man, the memories of evolving my mudkip all the way to a Swampert on the road trip to their house. Fooch. K-man, I went to Fun Spot in Laconia, New Hampshire recently, which has tons of arcade machines, and was so excited to see they had one. Except the colors were all fucked up and you could barely see anything. It cost me like $3 to get past that part. The original pay to win. I actually had the arcade machine for a while, and it made me decide I hate the game. Like, I don't think it's possible to gain any skill at it. Total quarter stealer and so repetitive. Coolest thing about the actual arcade is it integrated pinball parts to add to the atmosphere. So it would use pinball bulbs and an overlay to flash when you got shot, and some heavy-duty cocker motors for the recoil in the guns. Also, I promise I'm not just being pedantic, but it's technically an XY shooter. The game works by moving the cursor based on how the gun is tilted by using a couple potentiometers. Hey, that's awesome. I remember the gun being mounted to the cabinet, but I didn't realize that the tilt itself moved the cursor. Still have very fond memories. Played the hell out of the first 2 levels. Yo, my man, I am with you 100. I remember being in a teen lock-in at an arcade with parent host. I did a all-nighter and beat the game. 12 hours and like 100 quarters. My finger was raw and I couldn't move it from the trigger position for days. I was in pain. Haha, great memory. Also TMNT 4 player. Would go to a gas station and hang out all day when it got TMNT. Would spend all my allowance and chore money as often as I could that summer. I had to have dropped $100 or more on that game. You have to memorize which order the flying HK comes in and be ready for it. Special mention the Aerosmith game that looked kind of like a reskinned T2 game. There are emulators where you can play the game. Time to conquer your childhood demons. Simpsons. Agreed. Simpsons, Ninja Turtles, X-Men. Basically any beat-em-up game in the arcade. Was that the Streets of Rage style Simpsons game? Because that has unlocked core memories for me. I remember getting into a physical fight with a friend when we put our money in and he accidentally hit his button too much and then started the game with 35 lives while I started with 3. We agreed when he got down to 15 I'd take over, but he reneged on the deal. I was looking for how far down Simpsons would be. As of now, 4th comment down, sorted by best. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons on TV, but my mom didn't know about the arcade machine when we went to the skating rink. It took me a while to realize Marge was the best character, and I remember Lisa sucked. I loved Smash TV on the SNES. No idea it was an arcade game. It was an amazing arcade game. There were no buttons, just a joystick for each hand. The SNES version spawned my love for twin-stick shooters. Such a good game. In Portland, Oregon, there is a bar arcade called Ground Control with a bunch of classic arcade games including Smash TV. Food times. Total carnage. I love it. And was amazing. Big money. Big prizes. I love it. Good luck. You'll need it. Big money. Big prizes. When I had my first software company, we bought the original arcade game and put it in the office so we could play endlessly. I still say it was cheaper than if we had played in an arcade. Did you play Robotron 2084 also? That's the game that was retooled to be Smash TV. God, I love Smash TV. The first paycheck I got as a teen went right into beating The Simpsons arcade. It was like $20 between me and 2 friends. Core memories. Smash TV, hell yes. Big money. Big prizes. I love it. Simpsons arcade was awesome. I thought I was the bomb when I got to where I could beat it in 6 quarters. After spending much more getting to that point. 6 quarters? You were definitely the bomb. That game was devastating on the wallet. Smash TV, then total carnage, took weeks worth of my allowance rolling on the floor laughing. Smash was amazing. Came here to say Smash TV. 10 seconds. I feel this, just missing SF2. I'd buy that for $1. No TMNT or X-Men. Damn, I love Smash TV and Total Carnage. I fucking love Smash TV. Please give me another one. Or remaster Super Smash TV for the SNES. Big money, big prizes, I love it. Big money, big prizes, I love it. Smash TV was bonkers fun. Rampage. Oh shit, I forgot about this one. We had a local pizza joint called Pasquale's, and this was the only arcade game they had. Good memories. Pasquale's? Isn't that the spin-off pizza places from Chuck E. Cheese? Probably not in your case, but it's an odd coincidence. OMG if I'm thinking of the right place in Minnesota. My uncle brought us there every time we visited in the late 90s. All the quarters. Also fuck you up, I don't have any gray hair. One of the first games I got for Nintendo, beside Mario. Gauntlet. Wizard is about to die. Valkyrie needs food. Edit. I was 12 in 1986, and for some reason the Gauntlet machine in our arcade on the pier fucked up and we got limitless lives. We were there from 4 until it shut at 9. One of the best days of my life. Badly. Man, the sound when they died. I could feel that shit in my soul. Use magic to defeat death? To this day that's how I start the "what's for lunch" conversation at work. Elf shot the food. I've never seen such bravery. Elf needs food. Badly. Lol, my wife says this when she's hungry. I started reading Ops Post and Gauntlet immediately popped into my mind. Then I finished reading, and of course, Gauntlet. That thing just ate quarters. They have one at the local arcade here still. Super fun. I also dropped a lot of money in Gauntlet Legends. Being able to save your character's level was so nice. I also dropped like probably at least $60 in quarters. I don't think I knew about saving character. So art, that would have been nice. Yeah, I didn't enjoy the original Gauntlet as much, but Legends was amazing. Gauntlet was great. Team up with friends and fight your way through huge hordes of enemies. Great stuff. LMAO. So many quarters. How the hell is this so low? Did all of Gen X die? Golden Axe. Of all the games that need a remake, Golden Axe should be up there. There's an animated series in the works. https://deadline.com/2024/04/golden-axe-animated-series-comedy-central-matthew-reese-danny-pooty-121/. It's going to be on Comedy Central, so it won't be what I envision it to be. Might be fun though, by the guy who made Star Trek, Lower Decks. If there's anyone that could take something serious and turn it into a great comedy that adds to the original, it's him. Also, being animated by the studio behind The Legend of Vox Machina can't hurt. What the fuck? That's awesome. I'll be keeping an eye out for that. They are. Sega announced recently that they're redoing Golden Axe, Soar, again lol, and a few other classics. There's a reboot that's supposed to be coming out this year. https://www.dexerto.com/gaming/golden-axe-setting-game play-everything-we-know-so-far-2451757/. Bring back Golden Axe and Altered Beast. I dropped like $20 to beat this at the arcade in Tomorrowland in Disneyland when I was a kid. I did that instead of waiting 2 hours in line for Space Mountain. Time well spent. Beat your parents were gladly to have you preoccupied. There were fistfights for control of the damn mounted beast with the tail attack. Hold on to that thing and beat the level. Or dwarf plus headbutt charge equals big guys falling down harder than Michael Douglas at BK. Dwarf all day. I am so glad this is the top answer so far. I hadn't even opened the thread yet and was thinking Golden Axe. 30 years later and my muscle memory still knows how to beat the game on one life. My son and I play this on Xbox. It's on the Sega Classic Video Games. 50 total games. There was a Golden Axe remake or some improved version of it in this little PX across from my barracks at Fort Gordon. It had a feature where you could save your character's progression. This was way back in 2000. I can't tell you how much money myself and fellow soldiers put into that machine. Came here to say this. Wow, what a game. The formative memories. Such good times. Same here, man. I will say that Dragon Lair is a culprit just because of the design. When I was 6 years old, I was playing Golden Axe in a small plaza after a doctor's appointment. I really had to piss so bad, but I really wanted to play the game. Long story short, I pissed my pants because I didn't want to give up my quarter. I ended up with a pair of Batman track pants that were 4 sizes too big that day. It's weird. I never saw one, only 2. That and it was similar to Golden Axe, but obviously different story and sprites. A barcade opened up near me when I lived in Philly. That game got me as a youngling and gray beard. Golden Axe, TMNT, X-Men, Final Fight, SF2, MK, Tekken. Also that Simpsons one that also used the X-Men style double cabinet. Simpsons, X-Men and TMNT used the same cabinet and same sprites. All three were epic parts of going to the mall arcade or movie theater arcade. Marge whacking people with the vacuum cleaner. These three were my arcade life. Loved them. Simpsons arcade game was a quarter eater whenever my family stayed at a co-ed campground. I forgot about TMNT and X-Men. Hell yeah, X-Men was goddamn fire. I definitely went through a phase in college where I'd get drunk and run around making the WHRRRRRRNNNNNUN https://m.youtube.com/watch?v=WPUBVC dudge closing parenthesis Colossus ultimate sound. Because why wouldn't you? College is all about finding out who you truly are. Nothing moves the blob. Core memory activated. I still attest that getting 6 players together for the X-Men game is about as much fun as you can have in the arcade. They made a similar TMNT game recently. It's actually pretty fun. Me and my daughter have beat it a couple times. Great game. There's like 3 TMNT games coming out soon. It's nuts, a mutant mayhem themed beat 'em up. Mutants Unleashed, an indie game ported from Apple Arcade, Splintered Fate, and a port of a 2012 series themed arcade game. Rise of the Mutants, and there's still the Cowabunga Collection and Shredder's Revenge, now with DLC. So yeah, full steam ahead for Turtles games. Gauntlet was the original 4-player that took my money. Had Gauntlet on NES, so I was drawn to other games at the arcade. I remember being in a campground when I was like 8 and they had this small snack shed with a TMNT arcade game in it. So me and like 5 other random kids played that thing all week and became temporary best friends. One of my fondest early memories. Co-ed, right? Yeah, they always had a pretty good arcades, mini golf, pool, and movie nights. 80s and 90s kid essential. I couldn't even with how cool it was to play as Donatello as a kid. That Stage 2 X-Men soundtrack was the best. All of the correct answers. I'll add Tron, Star Wars, Gauntlet, and Spy Hunter. You have my exact list, but you're missing one, The Simpsons. Me and 3 friends went through all our spending money at SeaWorld in the arcade with almost all of it going to beating that game. I don't think we quite made it before we ran out of coins. Add in the Dungeons & Dragons games, and Alien vs. Predator. Those were my favorite beat-em-up brawlers. I forgot about all the fighters. I love all you listed and would add Virtua Fighter. Don't forget Bad Dudes and Double Dragon, Marvel vs. Capcom and Soul Calibur, then it's comprehensive. Definitely Street Fighter 2 for me. All of these plus The Simpsons. Oh, and later NBA Jam. Ha ha ha, this is awesome. My comment was almost exactly the same. Throw in that Simpsons game and you have my CC's arcade childhood. If your local arcade was really good, then they shelled out money for the 6-player version of X-Men. Golden Axe and TMNT were me and my buddies' faves. Just picked up NES TMNT arcade with box today at an antique mall for $19. I don't even collect video games, but this one is going up on display. Jesus. Did we go to the same pizza place? Golden Axe was the best. What about Killer Instinct, TMNT, and X-Men Chef Kiss? Simpsons was good too. What was the future tank game that had 2 sticks and you controlled the tank with them? You push the 2 sticks away from each other and the tank would rear up and you could launch an arching bomb. You also had to drive though these green bubbles for fuel. Simpsons? Loved Golden Axe. You forgot the Simpsons arcade game. Wholly ununique when I also say TMNT Turtles in Time, Simpsons Arcade, and Uncanny X-Men. When I was a little older. Time Crisis 2. Don't forget the Simpsons. Loved Final Fight. No Killer Instinct. Dude, Golden Axe. So many quarters. Final Fight. Fuck. Forgot about that in Aliens vs. Predator lol. All this in Tomb Raider, Battletoads, seconding Tekken. Are you me? Once I played all the way to the end of Final Fight. A crowd formed around me to watch me finish the game. My dad sees this and comes up to see what the commotion is. He sees, insert coin, flashing on the second player and tells me to stop playing around and let others play, thinking I was just playing around with the controls while it was in demo mode. I protest telling him I am playing and he drags me away. Some other kid just jumped in and played my game. Holy shit, this is the answer. Golden Axe. Loved that game. It was this plus the real Ghostbusters for me. Played these at the bowling alley while my dad was playing in his league. That fucking X-Man game is evil. Yep. First game mentioned in the top com, Golden Axe. So much fun. Such weird music, funny ways to cheese parts of the game. For me, it's Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Final Fight, Killer Instinct, Virtua Fighter, and Daytona Racing USA. Damn good times. You guys forgot Gauntlet? Honestly, good list. Yeah, this is it. This one plus The Simpsons and the Dungeons & Dragons one. Less common, but the unquestionable upgrade to Golden Axe. Not sure if it was the golden age of arcade gaming or the golden age of gameable IPs, but man, it was something. The graphics improved, but not the gameplay. And I don't think we truly got to the same level with home systems until the early aughts. Hello. You are now my best friend until I run out of quarters and unfortunately never see you again. TMNT for sure. This is the answer. Assume we're talking about TMNT Turtles in time? Also, don't forget Double Dragon. Bury my shell at Wounded Knee. I'd guess that you're about 41. I mean, greater than. Update for Tekken and want to add Soul Calibur. Area 51 for the only slightly gray-bearded gamers. This was around the beginning of the N64, PS1 era. Area 51 and Maximum Carnage was my jam. And I'm starting to gray in my beard. Lol. Don't forget Revolution X, the totally unnecessary Aerosmith game. I believe you mean absolutely necessary. Seriously, that game was so much fun. Explosive CDs, secret routes everywhere, enemies with 1,000 destructible parts. The only thing I hated was how much of a quarter muncher it was. I'm pretty sure the game just had you take random damage. If you haven't, try Site 4, it's actually more replayable because of the minigames to up your stats. Right there with you fellas. I was going to say Area 51, but you beat me to it. I must have made my dad feed $100 into that game. Sorry to humble brag, but I had that game down to where I could clear it with no deaths. I really hated playing it on the alien mode though. Shit was too hard to see. Clearing Area 51 with no deaths is like the ancient equivalent of a hitless Souls run. Shit's impressive. You could shoot all the blue lights in picture frames for secret levels too. That's badass, dude. Brag away. Pretty much any shooter in an arcade is a quarter thief. House of the Dead. There was a late-night burger joint near me that had an Area 51 machine up until they closed a few years ago. I spent a good part of my 20s, and a lesser part of my 30s, dumping my quarters in that machine at 3 a.m. waiting for my post-bar pizza rolls. Why did you have to tell me there was one for the Ps one? Now I have to get it. Played the hell out of the PS2 one too. I worked in an arcade in the late 90s and had unlimited play, so it never took my money. Thank God. But by the end of my 2 years there, I'd beat the game on 2 lives. One for each gun because I dual pistol it. The Dollar Theater near my childhood home had this game. My brothers and I would ride down there and play that for hours. Once I realized I could rent Area 51 for PS1 from Blockbuster and the controllers with it. I saved so many quarters, then beat the game in one session and was both extremely excited and disappointed. This and Time Crisis, Dragon's Lair. It was one of the first games to be 50 cents, most were a quarter, and it was damn hard. Then there was the sequel, and then we got Space Ace. Yep, it was Space Ace that ate all of my quarters. Until it didn't, because I beat and memorized it. After that, around the tender age of 8, I often had a small crowd gather around me at the arcade to watch me beat it. It made me feel like a rock star. What a great feeling. You were a rock star, bro. Truly. I loved Space Ace. I felt like I was the only one playing it, though. The novelty of Laserdisc games had by that time had worn off apparently with everyone except me. Word went around my junior high that Dragon's Lair was at our local mall. My buds had read about it in some PC gaming magazine on Monday and were all planning to go on Friday. Our usual mall crawl. Hanging out at the arcade next to movies was the epicenter of our universe. I got home from school and rode my bike straight to the mall. I proceeded to unload my full allowance, $20, into Dragon's Lair while carefully listening to the older dudes for clues. I didn't clear that night. I didn't till the next night, but on Thursday, I finally got my Princess Daphne kiss. It was cathartic. At that point, I had spent my allowance, $20, got an advance from my grandma on mowing the yard, $20, and had used all of my 1976 bicentennial silver dollars, $15, to achieve this goal. Spending $65 on a video game in 1983 was serious business. And I was going to get grounded when it was discovered. Fortunately, I knew this and had planned to cover it up until after that Friday. It all worked like a charm. That Friday I became legendary. Not sure if folks can understand what it meant to play a video game in 1983 and have a crowd of folks watching your every move and cheering. It clearly has zero real-world value, but to an 8th grader it was everything. At least to me. I got my butt grounded for a month after that. Got it reduced to 3 weeks for good behavior. I regret nothing. Best $65 I ever spent. Great story, bro. Totally my era and scene. You, my friend, are a champion and a legend. I shall tell the people of your great works. Epic story. I had a few good moments like that with Tron and Pac-Man. It's a stark difference from gaming these days. No one is impressed and basically blah about gaming. It's even worse with online multiplayer team play. You can pull off some great moves and really carry the team, but no one speaks up to tell you anything positives. Of course, make on wrong, stupid move, and now they speak up all toxic like. It was fun back in the day when people cheered you on with things we all had a passion for. Well, whether it was gaming or skateboarding, dirt bike antics, or other activities, we seemed to have more fun and excited to see others accomplish feats, no matter how trivial it all was in the grand scope of life. This is you. https://youtube.be/5/t=52 closing square bracket opening parenthesis https://youtube.be/5/t=52 closing parenthesis. You did it! I was the 9-year-old girl watching you big guys. OMG, I had forgotten how much I've wasted on that one. Talking about costing a lot to play. Hit the Ice was 1/4 per period, per player, or 2 if you used an energy drink booster. My damn friend always was a sucker for those. It was my introduction to the pay-to-win concept. I watched people play that game for a week at the local arcade when it came in. Wizard World, you were the bomb. First time I played it with my own quarters, I went way farther than I should have. It was one of those games that was as fun to watch as it was to play. Here, friend, ride some nostalgia. https://youtube.be/fwzrcb8QZG8?C=0f4JCLDVT-NFS4QX closing parenthesis. Time Crisis. This and House of the Dead I played the heck out of. Though only got to play for a while, was only when I was away on holiday and living in the sticks meant no arcade machines. House of the Dead was also amazing on Wii. I played the shit out of the arcade game as a teenager. And when my wife and I had our first apartment, we had little gun attachments for the Wiimotes and played a lot on our little 15 TV. Y'all sound awesome. I hope you're still happy together since the days of 15 inches screens. This. That game felt so good though. It's dumb how incredible stepping on a corrugated metal pedal made you feel. Action. My arcade had bar stools. I would always pull one up, set the ashtray next to me, and spend an hour or two ducking to reload. That game never got old. But Time Crisis 2 will always be my favorite. Not a gray beard, but I have way too much money on that game. They need to make a VR port.